one constant feeling reigns over the 130-plus year history of NC State Wolfpack football. Hope. And when there's hope, well, Pack fans can always relate. Pack family, time for a true look at your team. Expert analysis, special guests, and a Carter Finley-sized bag full of X's and O's. Let's get hooked up for Pack Therapy. Here are your hosts, Tim Donnelly and Wolfpack great Mike Glennon.
Welcome into the Pack Therapy podcast. It is Clemson week coming off a bye. I'm Tim Donnelly, Mike Glennon, my co-host, former NC State quarterback, here along for the ride. And we have a couple of pretty prominent guests this week. But before we introduce them, remind everybody, subscribe, like the pod. It's available everywhere podcasts can be found. And we encourage all of you to get out there and pass it around and tell all of your state fans in your life that this exists. But now, without further ado, we have a couple of Pro Bowlers. We have A.J. Cole, NC State former punter. He's an all-pro, multiple-time Pro Bowler. We have Hunter Renfrow representing his Clemson Tigers, two-time Natty champ, Pro Bowler also, joining us here on the show. Guys, I'll start with this. Appreciate the time, as always. Anytime you can jump on. AJ, I know everybody's familiar with you in the area. But I went back and looked up some of your college duels. Here's the punts from AJ to Hunter throughout the years. In 2015, which was a crazy game, 56-41, a zero return, a fair catch, a fair catch, a fair catch, and a touchback. And then in 2017, there was one more. They mixed in some other returners, another fair catch. So we'll start with Hunter. Were those punts just so booming that you had absolutely no shot to return any of those?
Yeah, I think I kind of like AJ's vibe, so I just wanted to help out his net.
Okay, you had a feeling you might be friends and teammates in the future.
Yeah, just had a little feeling. I do remember getting absolutely destroyed on one. I think the one for 0 yards. I forget who it was. AJ probably remembers.
It was Dravius Wright playing gunner.
Yeah.
And Hunter gets up and he starts doing the targeting signal for the ref. Classic Clemson pandering to the zebras. And just there's no flag to be found. And after that, he said, "I'll just fair catch it and just take my lumps."
I definitely remember seeing stars after that. Killed.
That's where football's changed, right? Maybe a little protocol because you did, by the way, in that game, you did lead the team in receiving with 93 yards and a touch. So hey, in modern football, maybe that whole game changes a little bit.
Yeah, and two, I mean, if you're looking at draft stock and all that, you want to have more receiving yards than you do punt return yards. And so I was just trying to fair catch it, get everyone's stats up a little bit. We think on a different level. AJ was just punting over there. They're probably returning 4 or 5 yards at NC State. It's not helping them too much in their offensive statistics.
Look at that.
And unfortunately, I think AJ, you said, what was your record against Hunter in those games?
The record is not as important as the effort that was displayed in the competitive nature of the games. I mean, wins and losses, they're a little bit of imposters and they don't fully tell the story. And if you want, I'll tell the story. And that is that we played a competitive, hard-nosed football team. We were hard toughened together in all 4 of those matches, and we gave Clemson all we had.
Yeah.
But Hunter, this year, I mean, I think it's safe to say NC State is not quite having the season they wanted, but Clemson, I mean, we're playing on the CW this week. You're going from College Game Day in Clemson to CW, which is going to be cut off at the end of the game with Tim Allen interrupting it. What is going on down in Clemson this year?
Yeah, we're struggling a little bit. Coach Winnie would like to say we're only a few plays away from being undefeated. I think we're probably a few more, but we're just hanging in there, right? I mean, it kind of takes me back to the days where, we're just hoping to beat South Carolina at the end of the year, and so we beat NC State. What is y'all's record?
4-3. Same as y'all's.
So battle of 4-3, 4-3. So someone's got to be 5-3. Someone's got to be 4-4.
What's the thing Davo says at the beginning of the year? You guys have 3 goals to win the first game.
Yeah. We got 5 goals, if I can remember. It's been a while. It's to win the opener, to win the division, win the state championship against South Carolina, win the AC championship, and win the closer, I think. think those are the 5. So I guess this would be part of winning the division if it's even.
No, this is the Textile Bowl. This is goal number 6. Win the Textile Bowl.
Yeah, for the big trophy.
Yeah, there's
no,
a trophy.
no
I never
division.
actually saw. I actually never saw the trophy, but I've heard there's a trophy.
Yeah. Didn't NC State win last year?
No,
yeah, I never personally saw it. I've seen pictures of it.
We won when I was here. We have a trophy. It's not the like fanciest trophy, and honestly, I don't think the Textile Bowl, outside of maybe these 2 schools, anyone knows what that is. But there is a trophy.
The only reason we knew is because remember the like NCAA football games and like you
Yeah.
have 2 matchups in the middle, you'd have the trophy.
Yeah.
I figure like college football, like just knowledge has gone down so significantly since those games.
Definitely
coming back, by the way. And we'll see how it plays out. We bring up that Clemson's kind of on a downswing for Clemson. Some schools would consider it, being above 500, all right. But no transfers. I was looking at their roster earlier this year. Florida State's, who is everybody's chasing, 22 on their 2 deep, right? Like 22 of their starting and backup offense and defense are transfers. Clemson has 1. He's a 3rd string quarterback. Are you calling up Dabo and saying like, hey, if we want to compete, we need to start taking the best players from all these smaller schools and they want to come to Clemson?
I mean, he's won 2 national championships, so he can do it how he wants to do it. But he, it's interesting, right? Like, it's changed, and Coach Sweeney is someone who's very convicted for what he believes in, and he kind of wears heart on his sleeve, and his stubbornness can be a good thing and weakness at times, just like everybody's strength and weaknesses kind of go together. But it's interesting how the whole transfer thing plays out. He's never really taken a transfer per se. I mean, I think he's had a few quarterbacks. I think Hunter Johnson last year came, and he had previously been with Clemson, but that's just what he believes in. And so it'll be interesting, how things develop and how he adapts because, it's something that everyone else has taken full use of. I think eventually maybe he goes to a hybrid, right? So like, I think the rule is you can transfer once after, so you can transfer once before you graduate, right? So once you graduate, you can transfer again. And so I think what a lot of teams are doing is they're letting them play that freshman year of football, seeing if they're good, and then they're recruiting them because they know they can have them for 3 or 4 years and they can kind of put them in the culture. Whereas, some teams are just taking high school guys and being 4-3. So we'll see how it ends up.
Hey, AJ, I look at the wall behind you. I see a bunch of NC State jerseys. See Naeem Hines, Ryan Finley, Garrett Bradbury. I have a similar wall at home, but it's just the NC State quarterbacks because at one point we were QBU and we had about 5 guys in the league at the time. We're down to 2, but we have 2 punters in the league, and we have another kind of boomer at NC State right now, Caden Nooncaster. Does this guy have a shot to make it to the next level and make NC State punter you?
Yeah, definitely. And it was cool because we actually played the Bears this weekend. So I got to go against Trent this weekend and got to see him in pregame and do that whole thing. And that was really fun. Caden's what, a sophomore?
Sounds right. I know he's about as tall as
he's a sophomore. I mean, he looks pretty good. I think he's probably further along than a lot of guys were when they were in that year. And he definitely has got a shot. He's got a big leg. He's got the natural ability. And I mean, the scouts are headed to Raleigh to watch punters these days, so you got that advantage.
He is a redshirt sophomore. I just looked it up to make sure we're good. But I also want to bring this. I also want to bring this up, and this will be posted on YouTube if you're listening on one of the podcasting softwares. I will describe it to you. But I see you with a little bit of lettuce hanging out of the back of your hat there. Nooncaster has a straight mullet going. Is this an NC State punter thing? Is it passed down from generation to generation?
You got to think so. What number does he wear?
Let me bring it back up. He wears number. Are you like protective of your number?
98.
98. God, it looks a lot like 90. That's what I wore in college. I mean, you got to think you set the standard. But just at the end of the day, the hair coming out of the helmet, it's a classic look. It'll never die. It'll always be in style. So I went mullet a couple times in college, most notably in 2016 for the Shreveport Independence Bowl. I mean, it's a great look. It looks like football, especially in the South.
So
and that's not a knock on any of our hosts here that maybe would love to have a little lettuce hanging out of the back of the helmet, but
no, not having a hair is cool too. That's cool too.
you just got to embrace it, embrace the suck, and just go with it. And I know, Hunter, I mean, that receding hairline, you might be joining me here in the next few years.
But it's been like this since college. I'm gonna be good. I tell everyone. AJ knows. I tell everyone at the facility. I'll be good when I'm 80. You know.
Okay, well that's fine.
For those of you
listening
who can't see the picture, Hunter does have just a slight receding hairline, but he had it when he was 8 years old. It hasn't gotten any worse. I've known the guy my entire life, it feels like, and it looks exactly the same as it did on day one. It receded from ages 6 to 8, and now it's just stuck in place.
Yep, exactly.
So obviously, I was very well traveled in the NFL and played with so many different teams. But one of the things I loved when I was with the Raiders is we would just have good, clean fun. Like just, bring you back to your childhood, play games and all that. And the story it makes me think of is we went to Indianapolis a day early, and usually the old John Gruden quote, he said, we're going to fly to Indianapolis. We're going to get a win. We're going to go to Hooters after. Then we're going to fly to London, and we're going to get a win against the Bears, fly back to see our hot chicks waiting for us at home in California. So we did exactly that. But this turned into about a 10-day, I don't even want to call it spring break, but we get to London. We go to a Tottenham game. We go do the sightseeing. But the week's getting long, and we played all sorts of different games. We played a game called Werewolf. We played all sorts of games on our Switches. We play Rocket League. We play FIFA. We play Mario Kart. And it was just, like I said, good old clean fun. And then it got to the point of the week where we're like, we're going to play hide and seek. We're going to play sardines in the hotel. And here we are, a bunch of NFL players, grown men, and we're hiding around and playing sardines. And I remember seeing Mike Mayock's wife and daughter walk in, and they're like, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, man, we better win this game this week because we're going to look like complete idiots. But I want to play a little game with you guys. All these games we used to play, remember you guys played wiffle ball, basketball, all these different games. We'll go one by one, and you guys tell me the winner of who's better between AJ and Hunter. We'll start with Rocket League.
Hunter.
I would say myself, yep.
FIFA.
Anything that's video games probably
Video
going to be
game, probably me.
Werewolf.
Me.
Probably AJ. Yeah, he likes to be the troublemaker.
Hunter.
Probably me, yep.
Pool basketball.
AJ.
Me.
Yeah.
Size.
Let's see what else. The winner of the NC State Clemson game this week.
Me. You're headed to 500, Hunter. I know you don't know what that feels like, but you're headed there. So
I know what it feels like. Just not.
We have a support group for 500 teams. We meet every Thursday, and I'd love to invite you.
Well, if one of you is going to be 500, one of you is not. So one of you won't be welcomed at the event.
Yeah, you can take my spot.
I hear the competitive juices flowing though. I did some Wikipediaing of both of you. Hunter, some baseball FCS kind of scholarly offers. Is that legitimate?
Yeah, I played baseball in high school, and I thought about playing in college, and then I just enjoyed football so much. And really, after my freshman year at Clemson, I really thought about. I talked to the baseball coach, Coach Lee at the time, and thought about playing, and just decided we had a good year in football. I just stick with that.
And did NC State recruit you at all at high school, Myrtle Beach?
I don't think so. I know Liberty did, and some of the smaller schools, but.
So how did you end up at Clemson?
I just walked on. I was like, nobody recruited me in football really, and so my mom went there, my granddad went there, my brother went there, and I was going there regardless if they offered me a scholarship or not. So I was all in. And
AJ, your Wikipedia, a little 3-sport standout down there in College Park. Was it always like punter, or did you ever think you wanted to flex the athleticism either in a different sport or a different position?
I think standout's a little bit of a generous term, maybe more of a stand-in. Okay. But yeah, my road actually to punting is kind of a unique one. I played tight end and defensive end for my high school team, and then after my junior year, I kind of had some smaller school offers, like some like Davidson, some Ivy League interest, places like that. but not really like the big school that I really wanted. The guy that was punting ahead of me, the guy that was the punter when I was a junior, he was a senior. He had left. And so somebody had to start doing it. So I was like, well, I used to play soccer. I kicked like in middle school for a little bit. And I was like, yeah, let me give this a go. Started working on it after my junior football season, went to a couple camps, got like a ranking and a profile, like expo type combine deal. And then NC State invited me to go up to the NC State camp, and went up there, went into a competition, ended up winning the competition, and Doran basically offered me a scholarship on the spot. And it was kind of funny because I got back home a couple days later, talked to my parents about it, committed. And then like maybe a week after that, they called me and they were like, hey, you know, we want to just go through, like, watch your huddle highlight tape as a staff, like review it, see what we got coming. And I was like, I've actually never punted a game before. And so I don't have any tape. I don't like what you saw in person. That's kind of like all I've ever done. So yeah, they were like, okay, well, maybe you just like send us some film, like as the season goes on. Like they were clearly like a little rattled. I guess they just assumed that I had punted, but I hadn't. And then we were really good. We were pretty good my senior year. So I think I like through like 6 games, I had like 8 punts. So I just sent them like the 8 punts I had. And I was like, here, look at this.
It's that easy, right? It's that easy to get an offer, huh? By the way, I walked on in college. Hunter walked on in college. It's just that easy, right? Just show up, never having played ever, and you'll just get the offer.
For sure.
All right.
Hunter, how many times did you play at NC State?
Twice. We played twice.
What do you remember about playing in Raleigh?
I remember being awesome. I tell AJ all the time, I think that's the coolest outside of, you know, I'm partial to Clemson, and outside of Clemson, I think it's the coolest stadium. You know, I remember, you know, everyone is sitting right there on you, you know, and like looking at your plays, listening to hear your conversations. You know,
is that allowed? Trying to get the signals? Is that allowed?
yeah. You might have to check some Venmo, some receipts to see who was there, but you know, that is a cool stadium, really cool stadium. I remember we had a little laptop problem actually with Dave Doran. I don't know if AJ remembers that, but I remember. Had some good battles.
That was classic.
It was a bit of a reach.
That's some really.
Let's dive in. Let's dive in. Give the details. What's the laptop problem?
Guy, they were doing something with
AJ probably knows the story better than I do.
So what happened is there was some laptops on Clemson's sideline, and after the game we lost. This was 2017, I believe. 2017. I think we lost by 7 actually. Unfortunately, I had a punt return for a touchdown that game by my number one enemy, Rear Cloud. Yes, we lose by 7, and then we're going out to like a little handshake in the middle. And I guess they saw there were some laptops on their sideline, and Clemson said, "Oh, we were just using that for social media." Nobody uses social media off a laptop. Suspicious answer. If you're on Twitter, like on a laptop or a desktop, psychopath. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, it's a little suspicious. Like, what do you really need a laptop over there for? I think they were crunching hard data. But, you know, I'll stand by my guy forever. If he says they were using laptops, they were using laptops.
Probably punt analytics, which led to the return by McLeod.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. They're tracking distance, hang, something like that.
We didn't have that in 2015.
I think that actually should be wiped off of my slate now that there's some suspicious, you know, circumstances floating around about that. And, you know, look, at the end of the day, like the game is played with a set of rules. And if you don't follow them, like how can we consider that a real win? Like we have these rules for a reason.
AJ, one more for me is obviously NC State fans remember we actually had Kyle Bambard on last year this week to talk about that missed field goal. And I feel like punters, you know, these specialists, you guys have special bonds. And when a kicker has a day like that, or he goes to that, what did you do or say to him in that moment or after it? Just you as the holder, as the punter, as the friend, how do you handle, do you give words of encouragement before they go out? And if they miss, you know, how do you handle it as that person that they can lean on?
You know, as we're going out there, I don't really, you know, I don't say anything just besides the communication as far as like, what yard line we're on, the spot, the hold, everything like that, just the normal communication. But you don't want to like hype somebody up or do anything to kind of take them out of their normal rhythm. But, obviously that was a horrible play, and we hate that it happened. And Kyle was a great kicker. He was a great teammate, great person. I lived with him all 4 years in college. And so I hated to see that happen, and it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, that's why you play sports. You don't know what's going to go happen. You lay it all out there and, see. And, after that, we really just went home and we did what probably everybody does after a pretty bad day, which is we ordered a couple pizzas, picked up a couple beers, and turned on The Office. And, just sat there and just didn't really talk about it and just kind of tried to, let the time pass. And, the next day in meetings, he was, taking accountability. I got to be better. But at the end of the day, I've always been a believer that one play doesn't define the game, that there's, Clemson's 3 or 4 plays away from being 7-0 right now, but they're not. And so, there's no play that defines the game. And, you take any number of plays and you change the outcome, and then, the result of the game is different. So, it's an unfortunate thing, but I think the character that he showed through it was really, really impressive and a testament to who he is. And the other thing I want to say too is nobody turned on him on the team. There was nobody that was like, screw this guy, F him, all that. Like, there was nobody that really had that attitude. There was definitely some upset in the moment, and there was some, obviously everybody was extremely upset in that locker room after the game, but there was really nobody that was like, you're why we lost. You lost us the game. Everybody was like, this is all of us. We're a team. We win as a team. We lose as a team.
Last one here before we let you go, and thank you guys for taking the time to join us. Obviously, you three met in an NFL locker room. I've never been there. So, I've seen Travis Kelce wear the Iowa State hat, helmet out, or the mascot head to a press conference. Amon-Ra St. Brown was dressed up as some kind of mascot. Is it where, like, when you and one of your good buddies on the team, when you have your alma maters face each other, there has to be a bet? And if there is or isn't, maybe, with you two being obviously such good buddies, should we try to organize something?
That ain't gonna happen. I ain't wearing nothing but Clemson.
This is what he says every year. He's like, I'm like, if you're so confident, then let's just make the bet. I'll wear Clemson if we lose.
Look,
but he's like, no, Clemson till I die.
I'm confident that I'm not wearing a different color jersey.
There's guys that'll come in, and there's guys that will, not really rep their college, but I'll give him credit. Hunter cares about Clemson more than probably I care about anything. And so he just has too much, he's got too much school pride to wear anything else. So he won't make that, we're not really allowed to bet, but he won't make that gentleman's agreement with me.
Exactly. And I don't think anyone's getting in trouble for wearing mascots or jerseys or anything like that. But I understand the need for the clarification.
But hey,
you never know.
Look, AJ, you're welcome to wear a Clemson shirt if we win it.
No, see, it's got to go both ways. Yeah, I can hear the fear in your voice.
Yeah, we'll see.
Don't let that pack you. Don't let us get
I'm stuttering over there.
We'll see.
You could have been up like 4-0 by this point in time, but you chose not to.
I don't know. Has there been a time since you guys got drafted or in the same class together that NC State has won?
Yeah, we won in 2020.
Oh, that's right.
20.
I remember that.
With NC State.
Yeah.
Was that 2020? Yeah, it was 2020.
21. I believe we won in 21.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Two out of the last 3. Some people will call that a streak.
And with that, we will end the Pack Therapy interview. Hunter, AJ, we appreciate it a bunch. And good luck with the rest of your season over there in Vegas.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate that.